with Wendy Griswold today, and let me tell you, she has a story for you guys that I believe will encourage you and uplift you. And so, Wendy, I want to just start with saying, what was life like before everything in your world got turned upside down?
Well, thanks, Kelly, for having me here to share my story. And my prayer is that it will be an encouragement and a hope to someone who might be going through a similar situation. I go back to about 20 years ago when I was married. I had 3 children. 2 of them were boys and 1 was a girl. And we were attending a good Bible church in the area, raising our kids in a Christian home. So I feel like we were doing a lot of things right. And my husband was in a ministry. And along with ministry, as you would know, it sometimes can be a stressor on your family.
Right.
And one of the things was we needed some financial help, and so I had to work. And a friend of mine had told me about a job at Penn State Altoona, and full-time position there. That meant I could have medical benefits for my family, right, and I could provide my children that were getting close to college age a chance to go to college with a 75% tuition break. So that was very appealing to us.
I'm sure.
And so I went in, got the application, filled it out, took it back, and a couple of days later I got an interview. And that very day, I got a call to accept the job. So I got offered the job and I accepted it. And I worked there full time in the nursing department. And I'll tell you, my heart's desire was never to be a professional or working. My desire was to be at home, a stay-at-home mom. I loved being a mom. I enjoyed being a homemaker. But with the situation with my husband being in a ministry, I was unable to do that. So I felt like we made a decision that I would, take the job at Penn State Altoona. Well, it created some challenges as far as every mom has that works and comes home and has kids, and you want to make sure you have meals on the table. You want to make sure that kids have the clean clothes, and but I'd say that sometimes people that are in the ministry are very busy with saving the world. And they don't always see what's going on right there in front of them in their families. And I will say that I feel like I don't feel like, I know that Satan really attacks those families that are in Christian ministry. And he did a work on our family, and our family, my husband decided to leave, and he left, and it created a lot of devastation in our lives and in my family's life, not only to me, but to our entire family. So that's kind of where the spiraling downhill starts.
Right. As I read your story that you sent me, I remember you saying like you weren't even really aware that there was that big of an issue with your marriage, right. So it kind of even came to a surprise for you.
Well, I think it came to a big surprise to both of us. I will say that I was married to someone who I think it surprised him too. I know we had a solid marriage, but like I said, Satan, as they say in the Bible, he's like a lion. He sneaks in there, right, and he destroys. And unfortunately, that happened to us, and it just broke us.
All right, so now you're on your own. Your husband has left you. What was life like those months right after it happened?
Well, I had a lot of emotions going on inside of me, all over the map, to be quite honest. None of them were good emotions. I'd say one of the largest emotions that I experienced was anger. I had anger. And
Rightly so.
I had anger, I had sadness, I had low self-esteem. I had all those bad things, and I believed the lies that Satan was putting in my head. And, Satan was like, oh, I got her. I got her now. She is so low. And, things like, you failed. And I would be the first one to say I was not the perfect person. But it was like, you failed as a wife. You failed as a mom. You aren't a very good Christian. This was my second divorce. So, guilt. I was overridden by guilt. Depression was a big thing for me. I was just, fear, doubt. I had a home, like you said, I had a home to keep on my own, and just all those emotions that came into my mind as Satan will bring those things into your mind, and he did. And I had to then really realize that these lies were from Satan.
And so we know, we've talked about, like, Satan loves to attack, and he loves to tell us lies. And what was the turning point for you that was like, okay, I'm not going to let Satan dictate my thoughts any longer. I'm not going to let him hold me here any longer?
Well, I got to tell you, there was a 2-year period in my life where, I was in deep depression, and it was like one Saturday morning I woke up and I thought, you know what? You are choosing this. You are choosing to just dwell on your circumstances. You have a God that is a healer, and you're not leaning into him. And I don't know why it came to me. I'm sure God brought it into me, but I woke up every morning with tears, and I looked around and I thought, everyone else is going on with their life, and you are just spinning your wheels. And it was that was kind of a pivotal moment for me, and I thought, you don't have to do this. You don't have to do this. You can cry out to God, and he can heal you. And I started really digging into the Word.
Right.
I had trouble sleeping at nights. I had trouble, really, at the end of the day, I would come home so exhausted. And I just started digging into Psalms, and Psalms was a healing. I sought out some good godly counseling, and I would say that's so important, godly counseling, not secular counseling, because secular counseling is going to lead you, at that point in your life, I think your mind is so clouded, and you're so vulnerable. You're so vulnerable to maybe counseling that would be, well, you can do this on your own.
Right.
I knew I couldn't do this on my own.
Right.
I knew I had to have the Lord's help, or I wasn't going to get through it.
Right. Now, I know a lot of your story, but what I would like you to share with the people is, since you've kind of pulled yourself out and made the choice to get in the Word and keep your eyes on him, tell me some things that God's done in and through you.
Well, God does practical things for you too, and I needed practical things. And one of the things that I did was I have a house that downstairs there's 2 bedrooms, and I thought, you know what, I can have extra income. And I made the little basement, the one basement room that has a washer and dryer, I made that into a kitchen, and through help with friends of mine and my parents, and especially my dad. My dad ran out and got me a stove to put down there and a little refrigerator. And, I think God just God just gave me practical ideas to say, you've got this, we've got this, you know, you can do this. And you can do this in a way that you love, because I have the gift of hospitality, there's no question. And there again, like I said, homemaking skills were pretty important to me, and I was pretty good at them. So I started, my first tenant was a woman at the campus. That was a Japanese lady, and she taught English there at the campus. And she was my first tenant, and we got to be really good friends, and she made the greatest cinnamon rolls around. I probably put on 20 pounds while she was there, but you know, whatever. But you know, God just saw me and took my abilities and my talents and said, look, I'll use them. I don't think he asks us to go outside of our comfort zone. And he'll do those things. He does ask us to go outside our comfort zones, but he created something that I could do with the skills and abilities that I already had. So I thought that was pretty neat. And to this day, as you know, I'm still doing it.
Right.
And it's just been such a blessing. I probably have had 300 people in and out of my home.
It's crazy.
I've had a lot of nursing students, because I worked in the nursing department, so I had tenants as nursing students. I've had traveling nurses, I've had medical students, I've had people that work at the Curve, and I always tell people, I never go out Altoona, but I have every country, every state has come to my house, so it's been pretty neat.
Well, I absolutely love to hear what God is doing in and through you. I know that he has provided financially, times when you weren't sure where it was going to come from after the divorce. I know that he's restored relationships for you, and I know he's going to even do that much more as you are faithful to him. So thank you so much for sharing your story with us today.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you, Kelly, for having me.
Mm-hmm.